Hello and welcome into gamers.com.mt. I am Alex, magical voice, joined in by the Ender L for this exciting AOC Malta Cyber Series Masters for League of Legends. This is going to be an exciting tournament. How are you doing tonight, Ender?
Well, I'm doing great. It's just the morning for me over here in the States, but I'm excited for some, intense League of Legends action. This is going to be an ongoing tournament, and we don't know too much about the teams going into this, but after today, as we progress week by week, we're going to have a clear understanding of these teams as we go deeper and deeper into the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. And I've done a little brief researching before the tournament to try to get an idea of both teams. And so, Olaf, I am not surprised to be taken away from Ascension on this one right now because we are already in picks and bans. But we don't know too much, and I'm hoping that we get to know lots about both teams, all the teams that we see in this tournament right now. And I think it's going to be an exciting tournament regardless.
Right, the Olaf you briefly touched on, very strong. We see it a ton at World. Same thing for
Oh yeah.
Syndra, Lee Sin, Jin. The kind of outlier in the bans right now has got to be that Aurelia takeaway. It hasn't seen a whole ton of play. It actually got nerfed a couple of patches ago, so interesting that one is being knocked off the table, and it's predominantly seen as a counterpick to the Kennen in the top lane.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Galel doesn't play too much of that. So a little bit of surprise seeing that banned away first, and the Karma seems to be what gamers with attitude want to lock in as their first pick.
And I actually like the first pick Karma because it doesn't reveal that much. If you're comfortable enough with the champion, it still has a flex between mid and support role. So if they do choose something like a Zyra, you still can have that Karma go into the bot lane and really have a decent matchup against a Zyra, if that's what Ascension decides to do on this one. So the only thing that now comes into play is who does Ascension kind of choose? Do they want to go with that Zyra, which is a really strong support, or do they want to try something else, maybe a little more damage focused?
Well, to be honest, neither Cypher or Wings play too much of the Karma in general. So we could be seeing that go either way. No matter what, it's going to be a question mark to Ascension. They just have to lock in two picks right away in the Vi, actually. With both Olaf and Lee Sin banned away, there's still picks like Nidalee, Elise still on the table, but Velez, he wants to go for that Vi.
Yeah, Velez, he loves that Vi. Whenever he doesn't get the Olaf, Vi is the one he goes for. So not too surprised to see that. And then Brahm's a strong pick still. I don't necessarily like it into the Karma matchup, but at least it still brings a lot to the team when it comes to team fights.
Right, the melee versus range support, never going to be all that fun, and especially if the Caitlyn gets locked in side by side with that Karma, which will be the case. That is not fun to deal with whatsoever. Now, Blank locking in the Skarner, I absolutely love this pick, especially into the Vi, because Vi is... she struggles very much with actually team fighting in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s even. Vi really does excel. She brings a lot of damage to the table. The point-click lockdown is very impactful in fights. But typically, you'll see Vi's go for a more attack damage focused builds with the Warrior Enchant, maybe a Black Cleaver, Triforce, something like that built on top of it. And now all of a sudden, if Velez does go that route, he will have to incorporate a Quicksilver Sash into his build just because of the threat of a Skarner ultimate.
Yeah, that is definitely something you got to consider when you have a Skarner on the other team. Now, I'm always an advocate of this. Whenever I see Skarner, I think Cassiopeia should be locked in on your side. One of the best combinations in the game that I don't know why more people don't choose. But you're right. When you're on that Vi does like going more damage in the early games, but it's kind of like how we saw Rek'Sai for a while, where there's a lot of that early damage. I'm not talking about recent. I'm talking about months ago.
Right.
You see that early Tiamat go for that damage, but then go straight tank after that. And that's how I really feel Vi still is to this day. And that's how you really want to build Vi no matter what.
Vi, she's a high risk, high reward champion that you need to get rolling on in the early to mid game, because while yes, the Assault and Battery is nice for locking down an enemy carry in late game fights, Vi just is not inherently tanky. She's gonna get bursted through in the later fight, so I definitely expect to see the Vi really prioritize ganking early on in this game, specifically once he gets that level 6. And there's a lot of gank setup to help out the Vi. The Braum passive to land those stuns. Same thing for the Kennen in the top lane. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of setup to really make sure that Vi can land those Qs no problem.
Yeah, but I also would not be surprised if we saw Vi going into the jungle. If Feliz was going into the jungle of blank, trying to say, "Hey, I see that you want to be Skarner. Skarner, I know struggles early game, so I'm going to punish you for that pickup, and try to see if it can't put early pressure on you right away."
That's just going to be the question. Which of these junglers can make an impact, especially once that level 6 comes around, because they're both point and click CC, both bring a lot to the table, and they
Mm-hmm.
both have some lanes that they're going to need to help out. We talked about
Yeah.
the melee versus ranged supports
Mm-hmm.
in the bottom lane. Ascension, they're going to struggle down there up against the double range of Caitlyn Karma. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, Blank is going to have to help out Galel in the top lane,
Mm-hmm.
because Poppy is getting counterpicked by the Kennen. He picked the Poppy into the Kennen, but he
Right.
knows that he's going to struggle in the early game, going to get chunked out very hard, and he's willing to make the trade-off for the later game fights, team fighting,
Yeah.
and just getting your first 1 or 2 tank items so you can survive through the burst, survive through the harassment of the Kennen.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what you got to do as Poppy, because Poppy late game, like you were kind of mentioning, is just unstoppable. An
Right, and you can knock
unstoppable
away the
wall.
Kennen in a fight.
Right, and I love that counter to it. It's just like, oh, Cannon, get out of here. I don't want slicing Maelstrom at all. Get out. Go back to base if you have to. I'm just not here. And that's later though. So you're right. Blank really has to spend a good portion in the top side, which also means that we could see Feliz on the bottom side putting a lot of pressure in the bot lane, trying to help out his bot lane duo getting ahead, especially when you have Illusion and Braum, which is a great combination. You get those concussive passive blows on, but at the same time, it's very weak against a lane like a Caitlyn and a Karma who can outrange you greatly.
Right. It's not that the champion Braum is a bad champion or struggles that much. It's just that when you're melee and you're up against a ranged champion, you are just gonna have a difficult time because auto attacks are gonna be flying. There's a lot of harass that can be coming out. But I want to talk about the lane that we haven't mentioned really
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever thus far, and that's this middle lane. You know, we talked
Yeah.
about
Oh
top
yeah.
lane and bot lane, how this can swing around. Mid lane, Orianna versus Victor. Before Zambone can get access to his upgraded hex core, get the double up on his death ray, Cypher is going to be able to control this lane with the ball, going to be able to punish out the Victor early on. Once Zambone can get that upgraded death ray, it's going to swing back into his favor and likely just be a farm fest in that middle lane. No real kill threat anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really going to be dependent on how Zambone kind of plays into that matchup. Because one thing that you kind of we're talking about a little bit is we didn't really see that much. We're going to see a good combination with Skarner on top of the ball with Orianna, but at the same time grabbing someone, bringing them in, and then if the team tries to collapse in on that, you can easily use a shockwave on that as really good play to kind of go with the Skarner. So it's really going to be interesting to see how both teams play right now. But now that both teams have locked in, we're going to get into this exciting game soon. So between Gamers with Attitude and Ascension, but don't forget to check out our sponsors at AOC Gaming, Go, Malta Tourism Authority, Esports Gaming.bet, IEC Malta, Miney, GT Omega Racing, and the Gamers Lounge.
Want another shot? I wouldn't want to leave things up.
All right, we are loading into the Summoner's Rift here for this great game that's going to happen between Gamers with Attitude and Ascension. So, Ender, we should introduce both sides of this. Would you like to do the pleasures?
Oh, all right. If you insist, Magical Voice. But over on the blue sides, it is going to be Gamers with Attitude with Galel up in the top lane. Blank, not from SKT, he's from GWA in the jungle. Cypher in the mid lane. Zod at AD carry, and Wings on support.
And on the red side, we have Ascension. In the top lane is Metal-Headed on that Kennen. Feliz in the jungle on Vi. We have Zan Bond on Victor in the mid lane. We have Exercius? Man, I messed that name up. Exercius. I'm sorry if I messed that up, Exercius. But you are on Lucian this game. And Mr. Zob in the bot lane as well on that support Braum.
All fun and games for these guys just starting off. Nothing too crazy going on, you know. Sometimes you see some fun little fights over the Skarner shrines, and it looks like Zanboned thought it was necessary to take an auto or two, take some damage to claim himself 15 gold, I believe you get for capturing one of those. All worth, all in a day's pay right there.
Exactly. It was a nice pilt over Peacemaker that got him right in the face on that one. But also, just with the Skarner passive, I mean, they took out Dominion, so we might as well still have Dominion in spirit with Skarner. It's only appropriate.
It is only appropriate. Blank bringing that one out for us to see here today, and you know, I expect to see this Skarner do a very good things. The lockdown is very powerful into a lot of the champions too that Ascension put on the table, and this is the power of that range support lane already getting that early shove on in there, which is so powerful in this current meta. It's so much about which dual lane can get control over it, can get the early shove, can get that early level 2 power spike, if you want to call it that. And this game, it's definitely GWA.
Yeah, and it's not surprising at all when you have this kind of pick, especially the Caitlyn and Karma. Look at the poke just coming onto Mr. Zob right there. Just really taking him low already, half healthing him just with a couple autos and 1 Q from Wings.
And Caitlyn too is known as a sort of counter pick into the Lucian. Gives so much control just with the range. You can really just levy out that harass, and you know, the flip side of that is going to be this top lane where Metal-Headed should be bullying out Galel, who opted in for that early corrupting potion to start off the game, just to provide some form of sustain up against this onslaught of harass coming in from the Kennen.
Exactly, and that's a very smart pick in my opinion. Is it's going to at least make it so that you don't have to get pushed out too bad. And look at the CS, not doing too bad on GWA right now. It's staying even, which is really good into this kind of matchup, which usually Kennen would try to bully you out, get you out of lane completely so you get nothing.
Right, as long as you're not taking too much damage and you're staying somewhat relevant in CS, it's definitely a win in GWA's book. Now, if you check out Falez on the map, he was spotted over by that ward on the ramp when he tried to make it into that mid lane brush, so Cypher knows exactly what's going on, and it means that Falez is actually going to pull this off.
Cypher. Yeah, Cypher actually not really respecting that he knew where Falez was on that one, and instead opted to stay pretty far up, and got hit right away just by the charge. I'm forgetting the name from
Vi. Yeah, the Vault Breaker.
Vault Breaker, there it is. I don't know why my mind is based on that one.
It's early in the day. We've still got some time to work out the kinks to warm up. But yeah, really strange that Cypher did play so far forward aggressively. And once again, Falez just trying to hover around this mid lane. Knows that once you lose the flash on the Orianna, you are incredibly risky to push up like that. You're not quite as safe as you once were in Cypher. Knowing that, we'll drop the ward to spot out Falez.
Sniffed it out, and we also missed in the bot lane. Zod and Wings were able to take Exercius really low on that one, less than 10% health on that one, and forced it back at him already in this early in the game.
Right, that's just the power. You can't really withstand the harass. The only way to win out in that bottom lane, if you are Ascension, is either with a gank or just all-inning with the Braum Lucian, which do have a very strong all-in, but if you get chunked out before you have the opportunity to go for a play like that, it is just never going to go in your favor.
Yeah, and now I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Falez go into the bot lane right now, because there's a pretty good push going in from Zod and Wings right now, but especially Zod being low on mana, and at the same time we do have the back coming in just now from Exercius and from Mr. Zod, which makes it so that this is the time to all in, if any.
Right, they come back to lane with just an extra Doran's Blade, not a huge difference in combat stats, but you know, a little can sometimes be a lot, and it really just is so much power that you get off of a recall, because not only does he have that extra Doran's Blade, he also has multiple extra potions, so going for some sort of all-in in the long run may be worth it to trade potion for potion, and all of a sudden Zod won't have any form of sustain to make it through the rest of the lane.
Exactly, and then we see in the top lane, GWA just backed as well, forced to back because Metalheaded was doing just ridiculous amounts of damage to GWA. And that's not surprising at all. This kind of matchup, you expect that. So, teleport already popped by GWA, but now Metalheaded has 6. I hope to not see him teleport back into lane so that we could see a potential gank somewhere else soon.
Yeah, that's the goal when you get that teleport advantage. Can you use it to make an advantage somewhere else on the map? Not in this game. He's going to return straight back up there, but such a fantastic back timing too from GWA, because he was getting punished hard, but if you don't get solo killed or zoned off wave after wave after wave of golden experience, then you're going to be just fine. Comes back with a Spectre's Cowl, and now he takes almost no damage from this Kennen.
But look at the mid lane right now. We see Feliz. He's ready to make a gank as well. He's looking to try to see if he can't get his advantage onto Zanbond right now. There it is, right there, trying to see if he can go in. Flash being popped by Zanbond as well, missing the Vault Breaker. There's the Shockwave hitting on to 2 members right there, keeping himself alive on that one, and barely though, even though he did get the flash out of both Feliz and Zanbond.
Now, once again, Feliz just a little bit lackluster there on that gank. Not only did he walk into that bush, once again, over vision. There was a ping.
Here comes the bot lane now as well. Here comes Feliz, seeing if he can get a solo kill in the top lane though for the first blood. Galel getting first blood on Metalheaded, actually. Very surprising to see that, and the gank in the bot lane did not turn out successfully.
I have no idea how that could have happened right there. Galel just slammed Metalheaded into that wall, got the all-in, which is powerful from the Poppy, but losing out this early on the Kennen, it's just a Spectre's Cowl. It's not that bad, but look at where Blank is so aggressively inside Ascension's jungle. He could be in a bit of trouble.
Hey, could be in a bit of trouble just trying to
Oh, he gets almost stunned up. Blank
Almost
barely
stunned
gets
up,
out.
and now actually First Blood Tower going over to the side of Gamers with Attitude as well. So actually that aggression from Blank, well, it should have looked like it got punished. He gets out alive, and they get a tower for it.
Yeah, already. Just 8 minutes in, bring some jungle pressure down there. GWA knocking down that first tower. You know, we weren't lying when we said it's a big advantage to have the double range in the bottom lane. Zod and Wings were just pushing wave after wave, no problem down there, and poking away at that turret, which just means all you need is a jungler on your side to get some deep vision into enemy territory to make sure that you're not going to get punished by any sort of gank from Feliz, and that is exactly what they did. Get the vision and get the turret.
Exactly. Very well done on the side of Gamers with Attitude on that one. And now they're continuing that pressure. They're trying to get this Infernal right now, and I think they're going to get it because they did such a good job with the warding away Ascension with the wards that now it's an easy Infernal for them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be much of an issue, and it isn't. They snagged that one up. Feliz wasn't even in the area to really go for any sort of steal there. Once again, going for a more aggressive jungle setup. A Blank coming in from behind here.
He wants Exercius right there, and he's trying to see if he can't get a good impale on him right now. Zod forced to flash on that one, and there's the culling. Culling actually not hitting that much damage on anybody on that one. Yeah, more of just a zoning away and culling.
Yeah, the impale wasn't quite up for Blank, so no way to get that in. But Feliz, he's still level 5, does not have the assault and battery. You know, he's been trying to gank all game long, you know, sitting mid lane for long amounts of time, and it just has not worked out. He's so far behind in CS and gold. Oh, mid lane!
Zanbon trying to see if he can't return the damage.
Oh!
He does get the kill! The ultimate picking up the kill on that one.
Turning that one completely around. Zanboned. I mean, all he has are some lucidity boots and a buck in his inventory, but somehow still able to win out in that trade. Cypher was just one more auto, it seemed, to turning that one into his favor. Yeah, but Ascension finding something.
Yeah, that Chaos Storm. You forget how much damage that does a second. And it showed right there. Zanbon barely able to survive on that one. And that last tick of the Chaos Storm picking up the kill on Cypher.
Yeah, flash for flash there you just saw in the top lane. Definitely a benefit for GWA up there. Metal-headed without the flash, the all-in potential, the teamfight potential has just so diminished, especially when he doesn't have the proto belt complete. Not to mention that GWA, still with the Keeper's Verdict, we might even be seeing potential for a dive in the coming minute or so, because Metal-headed is so weak right now.
Yeah, if Metalhead doesn't back right now, yep, here comes the dive. GWA's trying to see if he can't get anything. Slicing Maelstrom actually doing a lot of damage on that one, keeping him stunned up. He does get the kill with the tower on that one. Metalhead able to turn it around.
And it's a solo kill, actually. GWA didn't even pop the Keeper's Verdict. Feliz, he understood exactly what was going on in GWA's mind, knew that he wanted to dive onto this incredibly weak Kennen, but not that weak when you have the Slicing Maelstrom and can continue to pump out stuns, locking GWA underneath that tower for the kill.
Yeah, and the problem also is GWA made it way too telegraphed that that's what he was going for. He walked in, was trying to get a good angle on that heroic charge, and it made it so Metalhead knew exactly what was going on, and he's just like, okay, I'm not going to let you get the angle. I'm going to stun you up under tower, and I'm going to kill you.
That's exactly what didn't happen there for GWA. Tried to make it work out, but now they call the shots. Gamers with Attitude, they bring their duo lane up here into the top lane, knowing that they already collapsed that bot tier 1 turret. It's time to move their pressure across the map, but Ascension are responding in kind with Feliz and Mr. Zob here in the top lane.
Yeah, and we might actually see a little bit of action go around the Rift Herald. They might be trying to see if they can get some sort of advantage. Cypher is sitting on a ward, not realizing Chaos Storm and the Gravity Field locking him up. There he goes, Assault and Battery, picking up the kill. But now we see the Fissure coming in on the side of Mr. Zod, but Feliz in a really bad spot. He goes down. Keeper's Verdict knocking up Zob and Metal-headed right now. It is going in the favor of Gamers with attitude. They do pick up the kill on Mr. Zob right now. Calling coming in for Exorcist, trying to see if he can get anything. Metalheaded taken very low. Galel picking up the kill with the heroic charge. Now Exorcist is trying to see if he can do anything. It's him against the world right now. Is he going to be able to do anything, or is this going to be an ace going over to Gamers with attitude? He is so low right now, trying to get out of this one. Galel, ooh, flashed away. Is he going to get it with the buckler? He's looking for it. No, he is not. It is still going to be a 4-for-1.
Right there, you get to see exactly the issue with the Vi pick. Yes, fantastic at getting that initial pick, but afterwards, you're just sitting in the water waiting to die. That's exactly what happened to Feliz, and because the split pushers for the two teams, it was an 80 carry from Ascension, whereas Galel was the one splitting for GWA. GWA was able to teleport back and get a 5 versus 4 fight that Exercius just could not respond to in nearly the amount of time. It's now a 4,000 gold lead for Gamers with Attitude, even though the kills are still relatively even between the two teams.
And I think also a big thing on that is we didn't even see Metalheaded really get to pop the Slicing Maelstrom in that whole fight. So there was really no way of them turning it back on that one. It was really well done with separating themselves on Gamers with Attitude, where they're still close enough to keep collapsing on target after target. You had Galel and Blank in the front line, really doing a good job at zoning away Zanbond and Exorcius trying to keep them away from actually being able to do anything.
Right, Zanbone does a ton of AoE damage. He's sitting at 3-1-0. Definitely the big carry for this Ascension lineup, but just unable to get as much damage as he needed to in that fight because it was sort of spread out. Yes, it was all kind of pinned around that Tribrush area, but he used the ultimate there to assassinate Cypher pretty much.
Look at Galil. He is not afraid. He gets Zambone into the wall right now. Now we see the gravity field trying to see if they can keep him at bay. But Keeper's Verdict does put him up. Shockwave missing on them as well. Zambone's going to get out of this. Exercius now is finding himself in a bad spot. I don't think he's going to be spotted out. But this means a blue buff going over to the side of Gamers with Attitude.
Somehow GWA is able to force away Ascension, even though it's a 3 versus 4 in reality. You know, they've got their duo lane. Zod and Wings were just shoving in the top lane up against Metalheaded. That would have been the exact perfect time for Ascension to pull the trigger, teleport in that cannon, and look for a team fight. But instead, they back away, sacrifice their blue buff, and give time for GWA to rotate their entire team around this dragon to secure it with what seems to be relative ease.
Yeah, and I love the communication that we're seeing from Gamers with Attitude. You notice the ward gets placed by Ascension, and you just see this collapse instantly by Gamers with Attitude.
We're seeing a fight!
They're looking for the fight. They get Exercius. Mr. Zob, he's caught in a bad spot. Police wants to do something. He gets the Assault and Battery, but it is too late. Zob is gone. Here's the Slicing Maelstrom, only really hitting on... actually, there it goes. Gets a lot of people. Blank is super low, but I don't think they're going to be able to get him. Metalheaded is by himself. Triple kill going over to Cypher.
Cypher had a rough start getting solo killed by Zanbone, but turns everything around right there, finds a triple kill in such a disjointed engagement from Ascension. Feliz goes in by himself, then Metalheaded tries to make it in as well, but there was no damage to follow up there to follow through, and the shields just coming in one after another from GWA. Oriana, Karma, making it so that no one on their side would drop in that fight.
And now I think this is going to be 2 objectives going over to the side of Gamers with Attitude. They win the fight. They get the dragon. They get the mid tower. This gold lead is now almost 7K.
Yeah, it's starting to balloon a little bit out of Ascension's control. They've got some late game scaling, but they also have to consider that GWA, they're not too shabby in that department either. Just trying to find some gold in return here, knock down this mid turret, but even that seems to be a struggle for Ascension as the wave clear is just forcing them back.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Caitlyn Karma. They have amazing wave clear right there. You get a Piltover Peacemaker, you get just one Inner Flame, and that's pretty much just going to take down a whole wave.
Oh, and interestingly enough, Blank opted in for the first item Trinity Force before even upgrading, finishing his jungle enchantment. We've seen similar things with the likes of Hecarim in the jungle, so I don't think it's a poor choice, and Trinity Force is a pretty standard item on the Skarner, but rushing it going to give him a lot more dueling power, making him stronger in these individual fights, whereas his counterpart just has a warrior enchant, which is a cheap item, an effective item, but not nearly as strong as picking up that Triforce.
Exactly, and Blank's got he has the money to do it too.
Right.
He is 116 on that Skarner right now. I'm sure we didn't see any early plays, but you really don't usually see that on Skarner until he gets that Impale. Once he has that ultimate, that's when he goes in. He's like, all right, now you're dead.
Yeah, and even then, he's been part of the seven of the 9 kills that they've got. Just really team fighting here. Well, GWA actually the surprise top laner with 100% KP there.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and he's showing it too. He is not afraid to fight. He is not afraid to die people. And actually, Blank is pretty aggressive himself, ready to go in and impale anyone he can get.
Yeah, and what does that do? You flank around from the side. You don't necessarily go for the dive, but you threaten it.
Spotted out right now. For flash on that one. Look at the damage coming in on that. Just one shockwave, and there goes Mr. Zob, taken out so easily.
So much damage coming through there. Yes, it's only 1 kill, but they also use that to zone away, force a recall out of Ascension. They get the tier 2 turret in the top lane, and now they're pushing onto this inhibitor just 19 minutes into the game. They've got it.
Yeah, they easily got this one. They might even be able to get this inhibitor because the fight from Ascension just hasn't been there. We might see Metalhead to try to make a play if he can. Feliz, he flashed in for a blank zero. Ultimate on that one. Now we see the Slicing Maelstrom actually doing damage. Blank has been taken down. Keeper's Verdict hit away. Metalheaded on that one. Now we see the chase coming in. They're going to get it. Zambone able to pick up the kill on Zod. And now Galel left for dead, way out by himself. Cypher being the only one to survive. And actually a really good fight coming in on the side of Ascension on that one.
Super clean engagement there from Ascension. I mean, maybe not the most clean engaged. Feliz, you said he flashed in for the point blank assault and battery. And it ended up working. They locked them down, got 4 kills for none, turning this game around, giving them a second life in this matchup. I mean, the game was looking so far out of hand. They lost their inhibitor turret, but because maybe Cypher didn't have his shockwave, because GWA was just shoved up a little bit too far from home, things starting to go well for Ascension now.
Well, and it was a little bit of disrespect. They've been winning all fights gamers with attitude. And so they didn't respect that Metalheaded with, if he gets a clean ultimate, that's the one you got to worry about. You don't need to worry about Feliz and the assault and battery. Because sure, that locks down one target, but Metalheaded can literally lock all of you down, and it deals a ton of damage.
It does a ton of damage, but primarily it's there to keep them in place because the real damage dealer from Ascension is Zan Boned, and that Chaos Storm absolutely tore through the lineup of GWA, sitting at 5-1 and 2. I mean, you thought the ult from Cypher was good. Zan Boned has been playing an excessively clean game for him as well.
Yeah, and I'll say, Zambone, he has the team on his back right now. He is their shining light in this game.
Absolutely.
Got that solo kill on Cypher early, and now 5-1 and 2. Almost a perfect KDA on that one. And we actually did see Golel lose that 100% KDA.
Right, and now gamers with attitude, they're going to be a little bit less inclined to go for these aggressive plays, pushing a little bit too far forward. And you see already, they want to siege mid, but they're sort of second-guessing themselves. Maybe thinking, well, we should wait for this next dragon. It's a mountain. That'll help us with our siege, maybe with a Baron bait or something of the like. But they're continuing now to use this split push to their advantage. Previously, they were just all-inning 5 versus 5 because they knew they were that far ahead. Now they're going for the more calculated play in this split push from Galel.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move on their choice. They got another tower under their belt. That's more gold, even more of a gold lead. Now we're seeing almost 8k gold in their favor. So now just wait for the dragon, play this smart, and they probably will have this game.
Yep, gamers with attitude still very much in the lead. They were up 8,000 gold and still lost that team fight. That's what makes it even more impressive by Ascension, is that they were able to win out when they're so far behind, but now they've got that confidence. Is it what they need? They're actually considerably strong at the moment. Zan Boned is very powerful by himself, and if they can get those ultimates to overlap perfectly, catch out the priority target, Cypher and Zod, neither of those backliners have flashes over for GWA, so if they can get on top of them with a Maelstrom, with a flash in Proto Belt, fights can still go in their favor, even if they're not favored in them.
Yeah, really what you got to do is you got to make sure you don't get hit up by that shockwave. If you avoid the shockwave, which is going to be a giant chunk of the damage coming on the side of gamers with attitude, but as well, if you're able to get Zod, if you're able to get Zod pretty fast, this could actually really swing fights into your favor.
I'm a little bit worried GWA, if they start up this very...
Ooh, but they've got
boy.
Metal-Headed right now. Metal-Headed's the one you want in these fights, and he's gone. Taken out so quickly by Gamers with Attitude. And Pale just being so useful.
That's just the end of the fight right there. Ascension know if they lose the cannon, they cannot go for these fights whatsoever. I was worried for GWA because they were corralling themselves into the Dragon Pit. That would have meant prime engage from Ascension, really being able to layer up the ultimates. But if you use that Impale to lock down Metal-Headed at the start of these fights, they're definitely going to go in your favor.
Yeah, and that was very smart play coming on the side of Blank. Almost making it look like he is Blank from SKT on that one. Going in on that one.
Oh, Zambone!
Zambone caught out. Oh, and Flash coming in from Blank, getting the kill to secure it on that one. Now Zob is the target. Double kill going over to Blank right now, but he is in the bad side of this. He goes down as well, but Gamers with Attitude, they are not done. They're going to take this tower and probably look for more.
They're breaking open this game 24 minutes in. This isn't just one inhibitor. Remember the push in the top lane. They took down that tower just a few minutes ago when Ascension looked like they might have been able to swing things back in their favor, but they did not succeed in that goal. 2 inhibitors, 24 minutes in for GWA.
And that's a huge thing for Ascension on that one. We see Zambone, he goes down, and we just see how quickly the response from Gamers with Attitude are on that one. They know Zambone is their main damage source right now. Xerxes as well, he is on that Lucian, and he's doing a fantastic job still. He is not the main damage source. He doesn't bring the Chaos Storm that just chunked them like it did on that last inhibitor fight that actually went their way.
I mean, Xerxes, yes, his KDA looks pretty solid. It looks like he's playing relatively well in this game, but he's down 60 or so CS, and he's such a short-range AD carry that he really can't get much damage off in these fights. Has to be so worried about the Poppy, about the Skarner, who just gets speed buffed up by both Wings and Cypher. Those guys are dishing out so much damage that he cannot get anywhere close. It's a tough game to be a Lucian here. He's not dying, but he's not doing the damage that he needs to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's, like you said, it's how does he really get into these fights anyways? When if he gets within that range, he's gonna get taken out anyways.
Oh no, Feliz, he just showed down bottom. They're starting up the Baron. They got the Mountain Dragon. This one's gonna drop. There's no chance for Ascension to pick it up.
Yeah, Feliz, he's walking as fast as he can, but there's no way. That goes down way too fast. Really smart play. Again, Gamers with Attitude doing a fantastic job on this macro play. They see Feliz show in the bot lane. He walked right past that vision ward. They instantly rotate towards Baron. They're like, well, there's no smite challenge. We got this.
Right, and it's not even that they're being very proactive with their play. They're just reacting to mistakes from Ascension, exploiting them, and they find themselves up 2 inhibitors. They've got a Baron, and I don't know how you lose this game now if you're Gamers with Attitude, because it's just so mechanical from this point forward. You got those 2 other inhibitors. Now you take the Baron buff bottom lane, you knock this one down, no problem, because Ascension, they have to hold on to their Nexus as well as this inhibitor tower. You just can't do that. You're being attacked on so many fronts, and you don't have the manpower to deal with it.
And look at Blank just escorting those minions in, trying to make sure that they get that 3rd inhibitor. Now all inhibitors are down. That's double siege minions. Metal-Headed caught out again. Blank doing a great job to take him out. Feliz now trying to see if he can do anything, but he was way too far out. And now Xerxes is being the next target right now, having to use the heal, but there's a double kill going on Mr. Zob from Zod. And now Xerxes in the fountain. Is he going to go down? Yes, triple kill over to Zod. Tower going down. There's the Nexus towers, and this is going to be the game.
Wow, it looked like Ascension might have had a chance around that top lane inhibitor, but fight after fight, pick after pick, Blank just being so on point with those impales. It's not a difficult ability to use, but knowing what target to use it on and actually finding those opportunities to land the impale, drag them into your team, and taking out the cannon was definitely the way to go for Blank.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move on his side. And we just saw Blank really did play fantastic in this game. Constantly going after Metal-Headed if he saw him too far out. And we also saw Zambone, the target, when he hit 1 E on him, 1 fracture, got him down and stunned him up. And we just saw Zambone taken out so quickly. Really well done on all sides, honestly, of Gamers with Attitude.
Right, and we're just going to take a quick break before we get into our next match on the day. Don't go anywhere and enjoy this message from our sponsors.
All right, pick up the game.
Go! Pass the ball! You can look at the ball and walk backwards. You see, that's how you do it.
Watch TV anywhere for free on 4G. Now that's something worth shouting about.
What if we could change the way we see the world? Rediscovering ourselves through the people we meet and the moments we share. Each experience, every encounter, changes our perspectives, leading us to live life our own way. Money my way.